Welcome to Real Estate Done Right. It's your favorite podcast for realtors by realtors. I'm Jen.
And I'm Annalie. And for a combined 30 years, we've been working in this industry just trying to figure it out. And by figuring it out,
we mean we've become dynamic. Let me do that again. We mean we've become Olympic level multitaskers who can schedule a root canal, negotiate a contract, and order takeout while sitting in our driveways, psyching ourselves up to go inside and adult some more. Yeah?
Yeah. I don't
really like, to be honest, I don't really like the phrase adulting. It feels very 20-year-old to me. It's like a 20-year-old would be like, I'm adulting. I'm like, dude, I'm 40 freaking 3. Like,
I've been adulting
since I was 8. It's legit.
Yeah.
We both have. Yeah. All right.
But I do sit in front of my house to finish stuff up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like in my car.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always like, my neighbors probably think I'm crazy. Sometimes it's like I'm finishing lunch and doing stuff on my phone and like listening to a podcast. Yeah.
It's the whole thing. Okay. Before we get started, just remember to rate, follow, review. That would be amazing. 5 stars are great. Share. If you guys are enjoying this, please share with other people. It means the world because, I don't know really what it means, but.
The world, evidently.
It means the world. That's what they say. Today you're in for a treat, folks.
Oh, a treat.
We're going to do our weekly touch-in. We're going to be talking about pricing your listing, strategy versus market evaluation, and just the approach on that. We're not going to go into like how to pull data. We're going to just talk about we're going to talk about talking about it.
Very high level.
You'll get it when we get there.
Strategy.
Yeah.
Strategy more than pricing.
Yeah. Yep.
And conversations around that.
Market update. We're going to talk a little bit about that. There's a big, to do on the whole Fed conversation and all. We've talked about it last week, but I think since the Fed met and came out, there's some confusion potentially on what was said, what's happening in the market, how it does and does not impact interest rates. And so we're going to just touch on that again. And then we're also going to talk about what happens when the agent on the other side of your transaction is what Annalie calls chaos monster.
I use that word way too much.
It's cute. I think it's cute.
It's like, oh no.
Yeah. Okay. Those are for all of you highly driven agents. Like I like to do the summary on the front end. I think I learned this when you're like doing a training. Especially with realtors, you have people that are like, okay, hurry up. Like, what are we going to talk about?
What are we actually going to get to? Yeah.
There you go, folks. That's what we're talking about today.
Okay. Keep reminding me as we go through.
So we're going to start with how we're doing. Before we hit record, I put like a little music on for a second and Annalie said, oh, are you going to get us in the mood? I said, sure. What kind of mood do you want to get in? And she said, a good mood.
A good mood.
And obviously. I said, were you in a bad mood before?
I said, no.
And then you said,
well.
So how are you doing? What's up?
I'm good. And I wasn't in a bad mood. I've just felt I feel like things are stagnant for me right now. Maybe that's what it is. Like everything in my life feels a little stagnant. And I feel like there's just like work has been a little slow. I mean, I have stuff going on, but
we should talk about this.
But everything just feels like it like paused, which is very fall here in the Twin Cities.
Okay. So a pause to me, like stagnant feels some kind of way. And I'm wondering, okay. I have so many thoughts running through my head at the same time. This is not just about you, but this is like, I've heard so many agents say, we wouldn't do this job unless we liked the chaos or we're addicted to the quick hit.
Oh,
or
sure.
So I'm wondering for you, how much of that is like, oh shit, like it's been go, go, go. And then when it slows, it feels, because to me, stagnant sounds like a negative word. It sounds like nothing's moving, nothing's happening, what's going on versus like, oh, this is what it feels like to just pause for a minute when I've been running so fast. Do you think it's that?
Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think it's the eclipse?
Maybe. Maybe. I'm just going to say maybe a lot. I don't know.
This could be
I don't know what
conversation.
It is. It just, right? Everything you ask me, I'm just maybe.
I'm like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I think part of it is like all the business things that I'm doing right now are for next year, which feels good in some ways because I'm like, oh, I already know I have like $2 million on the books for next year. So that's good. Maybe I like I don't work with buyers ever. And then I just worked with a buyer and that was busy, right? Like it was fast and furious. Like from the day we met until the day we closed was less than 2 months. And in that time, they went from thinking they wanted one thing to opening up like location, type of home, all these different things. So it was, we covered a lot in like 40 days. They closed in 2 weeks. It was just like go, 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 go. Constant communication, like daily, 3 people on a text chain and me, so I think maybe like that went away and now I'm like, oh,
It's almost like after you have people say like a big party or an event or a wedding or a thing.
Yeah.
And then the thing happens and then there's like a bit of a dip,
maybe
that happens.
Maybe it's just like, maybe it was like, that was really consuming and I'm not used to, the buy side is different.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's more driving. It's more being face to face. I see my sellers 2 or 3 times.
Right.
A lot of times,
Yeah.
unless it's like a big house that takes a long time to get ready. But, so yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
If I really sit and think about it, that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
That closed last week. And then it just kind of felt like, oh, where are my people? We also got really close and it was like, there was some therapy involved for them from me multiple times.
What?
So
We
it was
don't
like,
put on a therapist hat in this role, do we?
but so we were having a lot of conversations and a lot of explorations around feelings about what the decisions that were happening were. It was a very unique purchasing situation. And so, maybe that's part of it. And then I don't know, I'm like car shopping and I can't figure out what I want and it's annoying me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You're just a little crunchy.
Yeah. And so,
okay.
so it's like, and I want that to be done. And like, I wanted it to be done last week.
So you're impatient.
And I just can't find the car I
You're
like.
feeling restless. That's what's happening.
Yeah, maybe. There's just a lot of like.
I had another thought.
I also like wanted to start house shopping, so I like went and looked at 3 houses yesterday, which is like not.
I cannot wait for you to listen back to this episode
Because
you're going to hear what I'm hearing.
What's that?
Which is that you're used to a fast pace, and when a lull happens, you not just you. I think it's human. I think it's in our society. I think it's a lot of things. We tend to fill it, and that's not right or wrong. You may have been putting things off until the lull showed up, and now it's time. But it's like, I have a lull. Let me buy a car. Let me buy a house. Let me, it's like,
and I mean,
okay.
I looked at some project properties yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that in your stories.
Like 3 of them. They were all completely
different. My
different.
toxic trait is
thinking I can take on more than I can. Or I have the capacity for more than I actually have. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I've been. So not in a bad mood, in this like also
transition.
But I think it is, there's also things I need to do.
Yeah.
That I'm
putting off,
not doing.
You want to talk about those things?
Well, I mean, no. I just like before I buy another property, I have to finish projects at the property I'm in.
Oh yeah,
and it's just stupid stuff like painting a tiny bit and putting a backsplash in the kitchen. I cannot make myself do them.
Yeah,
it's so dumb.
Maybe you need a little rest first.
No, I've not touched those projects in like they've been being put off for a long time. Okay. No more resting. I need to but I need to not. Okay, I need to buy a car because I'm worried my car it's fine, but I feel like it might blow up.
I just about spit my water everywhere. Did you just hear what you said?
It's fine.
My car is fine. I just think it might blow up.
No. My guys where I get my oil changed are so good and they're so like honest and real with me. They're always like, hey, you need this. Do you want us to do it? Or you could just go get a new air filter yourself, whatever. Yeah. How comfortable are you? Or like, but the last time I was in, he's like, so we have seen 2 of cars like yours, like their engines explode.
Oh God.
Because they're just when they get about your age. So I
got it.
And it's not even, it's like, it runs great. It's
time.
Fine. But I need to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
But like the other stuff, I do not need to buy a house right now. In fact, I should not buy a house right now.
Stop it then.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to say as this was coming up, it just kind of hearkening back to last week's episode, is that I wondered for a moment when you were talking about the lull, like you, from what you've shared with me, want the kind of business where you have breathing space. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I want to do X volume per month. I can't remember what that number is. And I don't necessarily want to turn a crap ton of units.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have a holiday season where I can just chill and feel, what's the word? Hygge. Have you heard that other word? Is that how you
yes.
say it?
I don't think so.
Oh shit.
I think it's Higgy.
Hickey?
Higgy.
I'm teasing.
Higgy.
Okay. So
Yeah,
it's like
the
a Scandinavian like
cozy
word
times.
for like cozy times. Yeah. Anyways, so I just wanted to note that, just coming back to like what is
Yeah.
it that I want, and reminding yourself of that, because there's a lot of external pressure telling us what we should be doing.
Yeah.
And so you have a lull, and it's like, is this okay
Yeah.
for me to have a lull? And you're designing and holding space for that in your business,
Yeah.
is what I've heard you say. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my therapy session is
Okay,
complete.
lovely.
How are you?
Good.
You had a big week.
I had a big week. The Purple House launched. We counted the days from the day that I met the owner to the day that it launched. It was 17 days and a big project. And it started with like, we're not going to need to do much staging in here, which if you look at before and after pictures, you wouldn't think it's that much staging, but like turning a bar into a pseudo candy store was its own thing. Like,
Right.
what are we going to, so it was just a lot of chaos. And I told you on the phone, this is, I don't know, this feels like TMI, but whatever. Like probably 4 days before launch, like I was just working long days, working on supplements and stuff that I needed a new like landing page for my website that I hadn't created. So stuff that for a normal listing I wouldn't do, but I wanted to get out before this one. So just like long days, coming home, being like, I guess I'll order in again. And then I'm like, God dang it, I forgot to pick up toilet paper again. So I have these old, like, they're napkins from my daughter's grad party a year and a half ago that are like they're not sensitive enough for special parts, They're just like, my special parts deserve special toilet paper.
You know what you should have done?
What? I don't have a bidet.
You live in an apartment building.
Yeah.
There are public
my
bathrooms.
God,
You
I
should
didn't
have gone
think
and
of that.
stolen a roll of toilet paper from the
I
public
totally
bathroom.
should have. I didn't even think of it. So
I'm so
at
smart.
like day 4, I just had laundry everywhere. I'm just like in my jammies for several days. So anyways, but super fun creative process. Lots of quirky stories. The day of listing, I was in the property and the owner calls me and she's like, okay, there's a few things in there that I don't want to include in the sale of the property. And also they're not like the right vibe frequency for the property. Mm-hmm. Can you bring them to my current house? And I'm like, sure. What are they? It's like I'm no kidding. It's like a 4-foot tall, what she told me, it's like an ancient whalebone statue. So it's like this, and it weighs at least 80 pounds. Like,
like, yeah, no problem. I'll just throw this 80-pound statue.
Like, and this black crystalline like skull, and the painting from the dining room that is literally as wide as my car. And it's morning of launch, it's Friday morning and it's raining out. So I'm like, yeah, I got it, no problem. I'm like, so it's on the 4th floor of this 10,000 square foot house, right? So this whalebone thing, and I'm like, dear God, if you are alive, please help me not crash down the stairs. I'm like, I have 2 torn ACLs. I'm like afraid I'm going to go head first down the stairs of this ancient whalebone.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine if you like just crashed it?
Legit. I'm like, I'm taking off my socks. I don't want to slip, the whole thing. So I filled my car up with, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars of stuff that she's like, yeah, just drive it over.
Okay.
Like,
should I be insured for this?
I know. I had that thought.
Yeah.
So I walk into her house and I'm like coming in from the rain, dripping, my hair. I just look like a drowned rat at this point with like, here's your statue. I'm going to go get this thing on the market and finish the MLS input. So,
oh my gosh.
Anyways, this wild couple weeks, super fun. And I have other things happening in business, multiple offers on a property, and was thinking this morning about like, people say, I was just messaging with another agent who's feeling how I was a month and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, people kept telling me like it would pop eventually, and it did. And I'm so thankful. And I'm like, it's kind of crazy. It's just kind of crazy how things can change overnight. I have 2 pending properties, 1 in multiple offers, this one.
Mm-hmm.
And a month and a half ago, I was crying about would I still live to see another day.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Awesome.
That's where I'm at.
The breakthrough has happened.
I'm sure I'll have another breakdown soon enough, everybody. Stay tuned.
So I'm going to take a nap and you're in a breakthrough mode. No, I'm just kidding.
See you later. You're going to go hibernate now?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. So pricing listings, yeah?
Yeah.
So this came up because we were talking before we hit record about, and you're, I think, experiencing some of this too, but the 2, not the Purple House, but the other 2 listings that I had go active that are now both, about to be under contract, the pricing was different, right? And different for where our market has been over the last couple of years to some degree, and even in the last 6 months.
Well, different based on seasonality also.
Yeah.
I think this is a seasonal here. If you're not in a seasonal market, I think there's some degree of seasonality everywhere.
Yeah.
But if you're in a market that has strong seasonality, and what I would just note for ours is from bottom of market, which is usually properties that close in January, sometimes December. So that means they went to market October, November, December, somewhere in there. That usually is our lowest average price point. And then our peak is anywhere from, usually it's July or August, which means they went to market April, May, typically. That's 10% difference here. So our average price point in our big macro economic look at the market, our 16 metro or 16 county metro, that can be from like low 4s, 4 to 415 has been kind of the trend, up to 450, 460, bottom top.
Yeah.
So if you're in September and you're pricing homes and you're only looking back, you're using bad data. Because you have to look at what you're, where on that curve are you in the year?
Right.
And I now bring that up to show my sellers, like, we're here.
Yeah.
If we're here and the next few months is projected to be down based on just seasonality, if we price looking back, which is above us, we are going to not only be not priced for right now, where are we going? We're going to be priced way off, and we're going to be chasing the market. So talking strategy, not necessarily data, is kind of what we were.
Yeah. So like this particular example, I'm just going to use fictitious numbers because I don't want to give things away. But like this particular property, let's just say we were looking at a market valuation of $350,000 as an example. These are fake numbers. And so I'm looking at 2 pools. We've talked about this before. I say art and science. So the science of it is, how is an appraiser, how can we justify the value in this property? What are the comps that have sold in the last 6 months to justify the top number that we can get? And then the art of it is looking at the actual buyer pool and what's happening right now and how is the market moving right now. So I had pulled, I'm like, well, we have in this fictitious scenario, I'm like, okay, we have comps up to $400,000. Like we could easily justify a $400,000 price point. We just had one that sold at, $350,000, whatever. But now I pulled like the day before a fresh look outside of the appraisal, aside of a half mile from their property. Because I'm like, appraisers in this particular scenario are looking maybe up to a mile. But this one property came on.
But I want to note, if you're looking at competition, you don't ever want to be looking at appraisal location.
That's where I'm going with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're looking at the art of it and looking at the buyer pool, buyers aren't like, they're not like, I only want to buy a property within this 1 mile radius.
No.
They're looking in a city or multiple cities or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to look again at the most likely buyer pool and what they're seeing out there right now. So this was like the day before we went to the market. And I'm like, shoot, there's this one that came on that's just outside of what an appraiser would be looking at. Again, doesn't matter, but a buyer's going to see it. It's the exact same layout. It looks like it could have been the same builder. It's a little bit newer, a little bit nicer finishes. And they had listed, in this case, let's say it would have been like at 320 instead of 350. They started at 350, sat on the market for 20 some days, reduced to 325, and then finally got an offer. And that's not where the comps are, to your point of like looking back. So the conversation anyways with the clients is really doing our best to let them know that the list price is a strategy. It's not a market valuation. And so if we're going to list a little bit under market value, it's a strategy to try to get multiple offers potentially. And you may not get them. And so that was the conversation we were having. And I'm like, I think we need to price at 315 because this is that price that this one got an offer on right away. And that's like now market. And so we did that. And right now we have 4 offers. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Deadline is today. But, the strategy in this case worked, but that was the same case with this other property. It's like, hey, we can't just look at comps. I think people know that. Do you think people know that in pricing? Maybe not. And I'm not trying to be like, I have it all figured out, but it seems obvious to me to look at you can look at the data, even if you don't talk with anybody, and get a good sense of how the market is moving or not moving.
Well, I think, I mean, I don't know what people are doing.
Write in, tell us, folks.
I do know, I've heard from people that they are not necessarily doing that. I know when I learned how to price a property, we weren't talking about active competition really at all.
Oh, huh.
It was very much like you're looking at pendings and solds, and that's all that matters, because actives at that point, and this is a gajillion years ago, well, data wasn't moving as fast because it wasn't like instantly everything wasn't on the internet
updated
necessarily.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But also, people were kind of like, well, active doesn't mean anything because active can be completely overpriced, or active can be, which is 100% true, but you have to know how you're stacking up and how you're going to appear to the current buyer pool compared to everything else that they're looking at. And so, and then you can look at strategy and say, okay, well, I think we're way better than these, but do we want to price right with them, or do we want to price underneath them and undercut the market a little bit and try to pull any of those buyers, because no buyers are buying those right now either.
Yeah.
So then you can start to really get into the strategy of, here's what past data is telling us. That's how you get your range, right? Like, or your top end number. Like, we cannot go above this number. That's all I'm really looking for appraisal to ever tell me. But then it turns completely into strategy. And strategy is also it's not a I'm telling you what strategy to take conversation. It's here are your options and here are the pros and cons to these different strategies. Right now I think there's strategy to go high and reduce in some markets. And the reason that I push for that sometimes is that it might be an incredibly limited buyer pool. And if we go low, we're never going to get multiples to drive it back up to where it was.
Yeah.
So let's say, for instance, a house you're going to go, or we think it's worth 8. And, sorry, I just got something in my eye.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Do you want to blow in your eye or something?
Please don't. Like a fuzz or something floated right into my eye. Sorry. So we could say, okay, we think it's worth 8, right? Let's list it. I've heard agents say this, and I caution them. They say, well, let's list it at 750 and get multiple offers because there's 3 others sitting at 8 right now. And we'll get multiples and it'll drive us to wherever the market thinks it is, right? Because we're going to undercut the market. And I think like putting a stamp on that strategy when it works is great. You look like a hero. It might not, right? So the other strategy is, as we think it's worth 8. I mean, there's pricing in between, obviously 850 or 750 and 8, but we think it's worth 8. Let's go on at 8 and let's let the buyer pool tell us if it's worth 8 or not. Because if we go on, or let's say we think it's worth between 875 or 775 and 8. We're not even sure. It's somewhere up there, but we're not sure. But even if we price at 775, it might be worth 785 to somebody. But if we price at 775 and we only get one offer, they're never going to give us 785. Does that all make sense?
Yep.
So really talking through that with sellers and saying, listen, your house, and I work, some outstate properties and some unique properties where we usually have 2 or 3 showings. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the buyer pool at any given moment. So then is it, you want to snag one of those people, but you also don't want to leave money on the table.
Right.
And that's not a big enough buyer pool to just drive things up. Now,
Yeah.
if you're talking about a 325 in South Minneapolis in our market, you're probably going to be able to drive it up in almost every market, but not
Right.
necessarily. You
Yeah.
don't know. And also, it's so interesting, just like weekend to weekend, right? If there's a lot of things going on, if there's a bunch of sporting events, if it's a weekend, now kids are in school, but people are like finishing cabin country time
Yeah.
here. And a lot of people go out of town and they're like closing up cabins and whatever. So you might just hit the wrong weekend that you came to market. And now you feel like you're overpriced because only one buyer is interested,
Right.
but there's a bigger buyer pool. So
Yeah.
I think just like really laying out all of the strategies for your seller and then talking through those pros and cons and making sure that you're not guaranteeing anything is ever going to happen.
Yeah.
That always, excuse me.
Do you
God,
need
I'm
water?
like really having problems.
I have a sip left in my cup if
no,
you
I'll
want
have
it.
coffee instead.
One thing I was going to say while you take a drink of that, that may go without saying, but I think we need to say it, is that it's also taking into account what are your seller's goals. Like in my particular scenario, the sellers were like, we really don't want to sit on this through the winter.
Yeah.
So when you're talking strategy, then the difference between let's start high and like see what the market might yield, it could be another 3 weeks. It could be time.
Usually if I'm doing that though, we're talking 10 to 14 days we're dropping.
Yeah.
Because the buyer pool will tell you immediately
Quickly,
what
yeah.
they think. So
Yeah.
yes and no.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah,
But
of
still,
course.
I mean-
a week might be. I mean, I've also had sellers that say, okay, if we don't get something the first weekend, or if we're not seeing the kind of reaction the first
Yeah.
weekend, we're dropping the first
Yeah.
Monday we're on the market.
Yep.
That's an option too. And then you have to talk about pros and cons and risks and rewards of that, right?
Right.
Like
Exactly.
if you drop
Yeah.
after 4 days, you might look like you're chasing the market, and you might start to give the idea, or buyers are going to maybe paint you that you're desperate,
Right.
and that you're willing to kind of do anything, and you may
Right.
get lowball offers after that, and you may not. It's
Well, and that's again, I mean, you're whipping off all of these different things, and that's the conversation. That's like what
Yeah.
are the goals? What are the strategy options? What are the pros, cons, risks, and rewards of each, and which feels most aligned to you?
Yep.
It's not, this is what your house is worth, let's price it at that. And
Right.
that's kind of just to bring this full circle and stick a bow on it. The list price is a strategy. It is not a market valuation.
Yeah.
And like, at least that's my opinion. It
Yeah,
shouldn't
it's
be-
it's a marketing price,
Yeah, it's great.
and there is strategy surrounding different marketing prices.
Yeah. Awesome. So one of the offers on this property that I have, I think the agent might be a chaos monster.
Oh yeah, are we transitioning to
Yep.
chaos monsters?
Do you like that
Love it.
transition? I'm good seguer.
It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, the presentation of the offer was pretty sloppy, and then he sent a revised one over, and it wasn't signed, and their seller's disclosure was missing, and so far the terms look pretty strong though, and
Yeah, like you're
Maybe
in
the
multiples,
best.
and probably going to be the best, or
Yeah.
one of the best.
and obviously we've had this conversation before, like how much of that do you share with your clients, how much of that do you not share, and I'm fine handling chaos. It's like I can handle that. It does make the thing that I will say, it makes me wonder. He also was kind of not nice when he gave me a call, and a little bit demanding of me. And to me, I'm like, how will that show up in future negotiations if they just waived the can I say that? Oh, this is going to air after we.
No one knows what property you're talking about either.
Anyways, I just don't want to say too much. I don't know.
Well,
what matters. Okay.
Shush.
Okay, shush. Anyways, negotiations, getting through hurdles, the things come up that we don't know about. This other property, I just had an easement issue, and the agents on the other side of it are genuinely, they're so amazing. They're genuinely like, we're a team, let's problem solve together.
Yep.
What are the options? How
Yep.
can we work together? Versus another agent that was going to write on that same lake property that was like no offense, but you city folk like don't know how to list properties in the country. And he just was like not a team player. And I don't know if we would have gotten to close with the guy like
Probably
him on
not.
the other side.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of thing where I'm like, I can handle your chaos. I can double back and make sure things get signed. I'm fine with that. But what the question mark to me is like, are we going to get this to close?
Are you going to cause
are you
problems?
going to cause problems
Yeah.
because you think you're God's gift to real estate?
And you're putting, what the problem is that they're putting their ego or their thoughts or their themselves
yeah.
too much in the transaction, right?
Yeah.
This is not your transaction.
Right.
You are here to represent on a
Right.
fiduciary level a
Right.
consumer client.
Yeah.
And I think that, I just think anytime that somebody is showing up saying, I need this or I need that or we're only going to do this, or they're just, it's like, well, did you even ask your clients if that's what they want? I've asked people that before.
What do they say?
We've talked about it already.
Okay.
On this transaction?
With this client?
I've had people like come back at me, I go to them with like hey, this number, this is where my clients are. Like we're negotiating back and forth on sales price. Pre ever signing anything. And they're like, that's never going to work for my client. I'm like, cool. Did you want to talk to them? And like, did you want to talk to them about a counter? They're not going to counter that.
That's
Okay,
wild.
but I know you haven't talked to them because we are on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I just saw a reel from some big agent somewhere that was saying like, you will often have agents that will say, yeah, that my sellers would never take that offer. But if you're representing the buyer, like write the offer, because when an offer is a number on paper and it's real, trust me, clients respond differently. And people respond. And so to that point, I'm like, that's just you're not fulfilling your fiduciary duties if you're not talking to your client and representing their needs. But also, like, they might have told you 2 weeks ago, we'll never accept anything under this price. And that was 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't a real number, and it wasn't a real offer on paper. So now that it is, have the conversation, you ding-donger.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've said this before, but I always say when people call me with like verbal offers on listings, like would they even consider something with like I've got some land that's listed for 1.8. We know it's high. Just put that out there for anybody that wants to go and look at it. No, we're just trying to figure it out. Like, it's very unique property. I had an agent call and say, I have clients that want to put an offer in, but it's going to be aggressively low. And I was like, what does that mean to you? And she said, well, I think I can get a 1 in front of it, but that's probably about it. So low ones. And I was like, put it on paper. Yeah. I'm like, I can't present or negotiate with air. I can present and negotiate paper. Yeah. Put it on paper. Like, just show me your real. That's all I ever care about. I will never be offended by an offer on paper. Ever. Yeah. It's also not my offer.
It's not you. It's not your ego.
I will also teach my sellers not to be offended by an offer on paper, because why would you be? I always tell them, be offended by all of the people that tramped through your house and didn't write an offer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Get mad at those people. These people took the time to sit down and put something on paper. Yeah. You might not like it, but none of the other people even took that time. Yeah. Focus on all your bad energy on them. But back to the agent conversation, I think, like I recently had a deal. I don't think the agent had any idea what was going on. Legitimately. Like, at all.
It's kind of scary.
And it was, now, was it to our benefit sometimes? Yeah. Was it to our detriment sometimes based on timing, uncertainty, confusion? Yeah. So, I don't know. I just think we can all do better.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to be better.
We're doing it right-ish.
Right. But we're, like, I think just be cognizant of also, how do you deal with those people, right? If you're going to have to deal with a chaotic agent, how do you try to control the situation? I would be extra, get everything in writing. I would not negotiate verbally. I would have a phone call and follow up with an email and require that they respond. How can you make sure you're protecting the transaction? And if something goes awry, that's completely them, that you have the backup to say, this is them.
Right.
this is what's happening here and this is not okay. And if you need to go for, talk about an ethics violation or talk to your broker, you have all of that. So just like when you're dealing with a difficult client, I would just say be extra communicative and be extra firm on documenting everything in writing.
That's good. Yeah.
That's my advice.
That's great advice.
And then, as an agent, just like, let's all do better.
Yeah.
Let's be nice to each other.
Yeah. Why not?
The goal is to get to closing. So why are you ever acting like it's not?
I just think there's
I don't understand.
old idea that like the way to negotiate is to be a bull in a china shop. Like I'm tough and I'm a tough negotiator, and I'm like,
yeah, that's never going to work.
That's not good negotiation.
No.
Like that's not emotionally intelligent. It's not going to create a level of trust and influence that will actually allow you to negotiate well.
Well, also,
it's not.
When have you ever? I mean, we've both been involved in a lot of real estate transactions.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
When have you ever, I will say outside of a foreclosure because they don't have, the banks didn't have emotions, but have you ever sat down where one party was like, ha ha ha,
Yeah.
I stuck it to them, and the other party was like, I got out negotiated. I don't even want to be here. Never.
No.
Never. You know why? Because those transactions don't come together.
Yeah.
There isn't a way to like stick it to them. It is, do we all want to come together, and do the terms make enough sense for all of us to proceed to a closing? And that's throughout the entire process. That's throughout inspection, appraisal, title issues, right? In Minnesota, we have an automatic 30-day extension if there's a title issue that takes longer than closing timeline to remedy. And after that, it's everyone's choice if they want to keep working on it or if they want to cancel. Like throughout the entire situation, it is a continual check-in on these contingencies, right? Of, are we still good to proceed together?
Yeah.
Are we still good to proceed together? Can we still figure this out and make sure we're proceeding together? And as an agent, if you are trying to sabotage that, then you don't like money. Right? The only time to blow it up is when your client is like, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
And then you blow it up because they don't want to proceed, or because they really need something that's like absurd or, whatever. So
That was great.
I
We're
just
going to
think,
turn that one into a real clip.
We
That's
just
the
have-
one you would take out.
okay, you're just
I'm telling
me to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll write it down. When you talk about smart stuff. Don't, just kidding. No, I just think I do think that there's a little bit of false bravado out there of like, I'm a master negotiator. A master negotiator communicates really well and keeps things on track if that's still the goal.
I agree. Let's talk about the market.
Okay. Oh, I have to be smart more times.
Yeah, more times. Flip
okay.
your hair once first, please.
Flip my hair?
No, it was a joke because, smart versus hair flipping.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I flipped it just for you.
You know that smart people flip their hair, too?
I would imagine if they have hair.
Good point. All right, let's talk about the market.
Okay, hold on. I got to drink some coffee.
How was that sip?
So good. It was worth making everyone wait for this.
Oh, good.
Okay, this week we're doing something a little different. Well, we're going to talk about the market in two different ways.
Yep.
This week. Should we start by talking about the Fed?
Sure.
Okay, when we were last here, by the way, we did not address the fact that this is coming out late, or are we just going to put this out next week?
I don't know. We haven't talked about it. Yeah, because my life was insane. I literally was like, Annie, I can't.
Yep.
I don't have time to edit. So sorry, everybody. That was a little blip, and it was all me. Do we want to post this tomorrow on Monday or just wait till Friday?
Thursday.
Thursday. Yep. Sorry, Thursday.
We can just do it on Thursday.
Okay.
It's okay.
So
we took
we
a
missed
week
a
off.
week.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sometimes,
back.
listen, sometimes Jen has to list a $2.9 million house, and then we might need a break.
Yeah. Okay. We're here.
Okay. So when we last episode, so we took a week off. Last episode, we did a market update, and we were talking about the Fed was getting ready to meet, and we were anticipating that they were going to do a quarter point drop.
Rate drop. Yep.
For the Fed rates, and then they did. So they met. They met on the 16th, I believe.
I don't remember.
I believe that was the date. Might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. And so you see, we're in real estate, obviously, all of us. And so on social media, we're probably mostly friends with real estate agents and lenders and clients. But all over the place, it was like the Fed dropped and rates and lots of like pushing to consumers that mortgage rates were going to drop or had dropped. So what happened and why? Do you want to talk about it?
When the announcement came, or the prediction that they thought the Fed rates were going to drop, that's when mortgage rates dropped. And what are they at now? I don't even know what they're at.
Last week, I think they were between like I saw as low as 6.1.
Yeah.
So really, and historically low.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm short-term historical.
Yeah.
I think they were the lowest they'd been in the last 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Last
that
week.
happened before the Fed rate dropped, and then the Fed, Jerome Powell came on. I always want to say Jerome. I don't know. I always want to say it wrong. Anyways, he came on and then he explained like why they were going to drop the rate. And in that conversation, he also talked about how the economy, like inflation was going up, unemployment was going up.
Job starts is down.
Yeah. So things
Lots
that were
of
like
multiple indicators that the economy is weakening right now.
And so they lowered the rate because of that. So now that rate is lowered, there are some people that are like, okay, interest rates are going to come down more now because of that. Just a reminder.
Mortgage interest rates.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
Mortgage interest rates and the Fed rate are not directly correlated.
Correct.
And so that's not like a Fed rate comes down and mortgage rate comes down, but it's part of the whole economic picture. And so how they decide, how lenders decide, or the mortgage industry, what is it?
Well, it's the mortgage market.
Yeah, the mortgage market.
I mean, the mortgage rates and mortgages are sold on their own market, like the stock market, right? They're packaged and sold on a secondary market. And so they're going to be watching mortgage starts, how many consumers are starting the process of getting a mortgage. And I will say, I know mortgage starts went up like historically high. It was like a record-breaking week. Again, in the last like 3 years, it wasn't not historically, but refinances, huge pop in refinances. And it was interesting. The average, I saw a statistic that said the average refi amount in that big pop that came in was like a $450,000 mortgage, which I thought was interesting because it was people that have higher priced homes, right? Yep. That's $500,000-$700,000 homes. Yep. They're jumping on this early end of refinancing. 6.1 doesn't seem like a refi to me unless you were at 7.5. Yeah. I mean, a point drop is like the minimum you want to refi your house. And so, I start looking at some of those things also, and I'm like, okay, are those indicators that those people are feeling a pinch and they need any relief? Or are they economically looking forward, and are they getting nervous about potential and they want any relief? If I was looking forward, as long as my job is secure right now, we should be seeing more relief by the end of the year in mortgage rates. So why would you refinance now and not wait? So to me, the fact that many people surged into refinancing, lack of education.
Have you noted consumer debt? I feel like I heard something recently that the consumer debt on the whole has gone up significantly in the last year as well.
I'm sure it has.
Yeah. And so again,
also if you look at like I'm car shopping right now, right? So I'm used to the world of I have good credit.
Oh, you're so fancy.
But I'm used to the world of like, I can go buy a new car and have 0% financing.
Yeah.
That is not the case right now.
Yeah.
One of the things that's swaying me is that a few places are just popping out with like 1.9%, which is great. Otherwise, it's 5 from like my credit union. I can get 5 on new car. From car dealerships, some are their lowest option is like 8.5 if I was going to finance through them. So if we look at consumer debt, just to bring this back, when you have everything costs more, houses, borrowing money costs so much more than it usually does. You're able to pay less down less quickly as well. So everything is going to hold. Credit card rates have been crazy through the roof. So if you're not able to pay your credit card every month, it's going to be harder for you to pay down principal because you're paying so much interest. So that's all. I mean, that
Yep.
should be pretty
Yeah.
self-explanatory.
Well,
but just
and
to
I think
point
for a
that
lot
out.
of people, sometimes it can be hard to piece it all together and just go, okay, how does one thing impact the other and why does it matter? And so when you look at the overall scope of what's happening in the economy, and we just kind of, I feel like I'm continuing to speculate about how does the consumer feel right now, the average consumer. It's not everybody, but if the majority kind of in that middle of the bell curve, how are they feeling about the economy, about the market, about interest rates? And my sense, and maybe it's because of what the algorithms are feeding me online, is that there continues to be a lack of certainty and stability.
Yeah.
And so even though interest rates are ticking down, it'll be interesting to see if it does start to push, like if it pushes some of the sellers that have been wanting to sell and buy something different. Now they're like, okay, now this rate kind of makes it make more sense. Or if there's other variables, like we were out the other night, met a professional at a bar. We were like happy hour working on the podcast. And this, just letting people know. I don't know, whatever. It's not like
we
we're
can
at
go
the
to-
bar, like slugging it up with some dude. Like I just wanted to paint the appropriate picture, you know?
Yeah.
So anyways.
Because we only work at bars. We never just go and have fun.
Anyway, he was talking about how the economy is impacting his market in corporate America and recruiting, talent and all of that. And also that they're seeing a pinch in their business and a pinch in general to different positions. And he, who is very successful, is like, yeah, I don't know if my position will be here. Like, how much longer will it be here? Because things are getting squeezed out right now because of how the economy is behaving. So there's a lack of certainty there. Yeah. Which, I feel like we're all feeling that. I don't know.
Well, I also think that, I think I mentioned this last week or our last episode that, buyer's market does not equal bad. Mm-hmm. But I think that because not very many agents have worked in a buyer's market, I think there are a lot of agents out there right now that are like, we want interest rates to come down. We want interest rates to come down. Well, why do interest rates come down? Mm-hmm. Because everything economically is unstable.
Right.
And economic instability means fewer buyers feeling confident to take out money. That's why they drop interest rates, to try to influence people to still stay into the purchasing market. And so I think what people are missing, because we just had really low interest rates, but it was not a buyer's market.
Right.
It was a seller's market with incredibly low interest rates. But what else was happening during that time? Talking COVID times, right? What else was happening? Well, a lot of people were getting a lot of free money.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of free money.
Yeah.
And so people not only had this inflated confidence because they're just getting thousands of dollars every quarter or whatever it is, but interest rates were historically low. That is not going to be the experience of interest rates coming down this time.
No.
If interest rates come down this time, it's not going to be that people are getting $6,000 every quarter to boost their spending. It's going to be that they are worried about their jobs, losing their jobs, or otherwise economically concerned.
Wah, wah, wah.
And so it's going to be opportunity. There's always opportunity in the market, but the opportunity is going to look different than COVID times. So if that's your only experience with low interest rates and you've been the champion of interest rates coming down, I'm chill with interest rates in the 5s and 6s because that keeps a very healthy market. There's plenty of business still moving. There's no frenzy, but it also doesn't mean a recession. If interest rates get into the 5s or 4s again, it's because we're in a recession.
Right.
And it's probably coming. Kind of the writing, we've been teetering. We talk about like we've been tiptoeing and tap dancing right on the recession line for a while now, but it's, it might not come. We might just tap dance for another couple of years and we might go right back into a strong economy again. But if it comes and we get that interest rate relief that agents have been begging for, if you've not worked in that market, be ready to learn some new skills. And it's going to be, you're going to have sellers probably coming out of your ears, and you're going to be searching for a buyer that is able to sell, to buy those homes. And so get ready for that big shift in skills and the landscape looking completely different.
Yeah.
And I worry about agents who are like, interest rates, and they just want them to be 3. And I'm like, who's going to be able to get a mortgage when they're 3?
Yeah.
Because in 10, they were 3.
And it was,
No one could get a mortgage.
yeah. Yeah.
Right? So again, I don't love using the 2008 to
Yeah.
2013 times as an example, but that's okay. I feel like I just went on a rant.
That was so good.
No,
You're
it's
good
a
at
little
ranting.
Economic ranting. I'm going to put that on my resume.
Yeah.
Wonderful at economic ranting.
That's great.
Economic musings by Annie Lee. Okay. I think we did it.
I think we're good.
Okay, we're going to talk about these though.
Oh, we are? Okay,
Yeah,
let's do it.
So final thing, in our market, we have some big transaction coordination teams, and they put out kind of what they're seeing. And so we just thought it would be interesting to touch on that. This is from, I'll give them a shout out, Home Free TC, which is one of the transaction coordination teams in the Twin Cities. And these are insights from, it's based on 108 accepted offers, which I wish I knew how many offers total were accepted between September 1st and September 19th, because that's the time frame. And this is the 7-county metro. So this is, if we're talking macro, this is about half of the metro that I look on a macro level, if that makes sense. I look at a 16 county. This is 7 county.
Yep.
I just want to talk about a couple of these. Inspections were waived 17%, which is actually an increase over August, which I think is interesting. Might be fluky. I don't want to put too much onto that. But interestingly, cash and conventional financing were also both up, and FHA was down, which I would expect as, well, I don't know. I mean, you start to look at why.
Yeah.
Right? The why behind this. And I will say people that are getting FHA financing, they do have way better opportunity as far as interest rates go right now. Still harder to get those offers accepted, even in our market. And those buyers are more than likely going to feel economic uncertainties or economic hits first.
Yeah.
Mostly because they're going to be first-time home buyers or earlier in their home buying journey, younger. This one I want to talk about.
I'm excited.
Seller contribution to closing costs. 35% of offers included it. That was up.
That seems,
It seems like a lot, a third.
Yeah.
I have still only seen it this year on one offer. On the initial offer.
Yep.
There were a bunch of times where we negotiated it after inspection.
Yep.
I think that's not what this is. This is initial accepted offers. I only had one this whole year that actually asked for it right out of the gates, and we negotiated it down a little bit. We did give it right out of the gate as well, because the rest of the offer made great sense to my sellers.
Yeah.
If we, that's a thing to watch. That's an economic shift. And I talk with my clients about market dependent terms to be aware of, and market dependent terms for buyers and sellers right now. Big ones are waiving inspection.
Yep.
Asking the seller to contribute to your closing costs. That's a huge financial one. And what's the third one I'm going to say?
I don't know.
Buyer agent commission.
Oh, yeah.
And if we start to see, buyer agent commission is not going to go away. But if we keep seeing this increasing, you better on your initial net sheet put 3% for seller contribution to closing costs back on there and start planning for it and saying, best case scenario, we don't have to give any, but let's account for it on the front end so that your bottom
setting
line
up
is reflecting it.
expectations. Yeah.
Because I'm starting to see it become more prevalent. I will probably this winter put that on for any appointments. It'll probably go away in our market in the spring based on how I'm seeing everything playing out here right now, but no guarantees. But this is something like, again, if you're not watching these numbers and you're not setting up your sellers, when you get one offer after 22 days on the market and it asks for a full 3% in closing costs, and you never talked about closing costs, and they don't even know that's a thing because this is the first time they're ever selling a house.
Yeah. They're like, what?
That's going to be a big surprise, right? 3% can be a lot of money. So I would keep an eye on that in whatever market you're in. And if you can get that stat from like a transaction coordination company, or talk to big teams, how many are they seeing? That's a great anecdotal way to watch that. But I would probably, And there are enough markets out there right now that are already into a buyer's market. Hopefully they're already completely planning for this, but that's on my radar of, I will put that back on. But
Yeah.
since 2018, I have taken it off of my net sheet at my initial listing
Yeah.
appointment. That'll go back on. So, that's all.
Okay. I think that's helpful information. I
Yeah.
think as we're having these conversations, and part of why I want to have these conversations is because if I'm looking for something to listen to in a podcast, I want to listen to these conversations. It's like, I want to know how to talk with my seller. I want to know what's happening in the market. I want to have a distilled version for like, what do we talk about? What are they asking about? What's happening?
Yeah.
Not that we have it all figured out, but I'm like, yeah, I think this is helpful. It's helpful for me to run through it. Like,
For sure.
Recording this is like pushing us to find the information in a more distilled
Be
way.
better
Yeah.
informed as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's all then for this week's episode of Real Estate Done Rightish.
think we
Until
did it.
next time.
Cheers to doing it rightish. We'll try. I'll just do it as fast as it feels okay. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general knowledge and informational purposes only and do not constitute professional, legal, or financial advice. As licensed real estate agents in the state of Minnesota, we are not attorneys, financial advisors, or tax professionals, and we cannot provide advice in those areas or in regards to any agency or broker-specific topics in any other state. Any reliance you place on the information provided in this podcast is strictly at your own risk. We strongly encourage you to consult with qualified professionals for specific guidance related to your individual circumstances.